Hello, TECA1318. Here is your Module 5 explanation. We are moving on to wellness, which, as we've discussed, is the connection of all three of these. When we look at health, safety, nutrition, they all tie in together. They are all interrelated. And so we're going to talk about those. You've got 3 chapters, a final reflection, time logs, and of course student evaluation. The course actually ends on Thursday, so by Wednesday we'll have the quizzes, and by Thursday we'll have the time log and related items. So looking at quizzes, chapter 1 is going to be looking at your role in wellness. What is it? And so we've talked about it as a teacher, as an adult, as a parent, as an aunt, as an uncle. What is your role? Providing instruction, providing an environment. How do we do that? We've talked about how these things tie together. And then we've got chapter 8, which is going to be how do you create that climate of health and wellness? What policies do you have in practice? How do you work among diverse populations is another one. And when we talk about all of this, we have to talk about COVID-19. You know, what are the schools going to be doing in the fall? How do we ensure social distancing? How do we get kids to wear masks? Do kids wear masks? What about herd immunity? Looking at child care centers, there's been an uptick in all of that. Like, how do we do this in our classrooms, in our homes, in child care centers? How do we create this climate? And then the next part is going to be on chapter 12, which is children's mental health. And that's something that we've touched on before. And so the idea of keeping kids safe, providing structure and yet risky play. And we've seen that when kids aren't out there doing that, it has a negative impact on their mental health. We've noticed uptakes in anxiety and depression. A lot more emotional behavioral disorders are being diagnosed. And the question is why? If we look at our current climate with a pandemic of COVID-19, when we look at the systemic racism that we are dealing with, you know, and I would think that everybody here would agree going into the world of education that every child has value. Every child should be given steps to reach their best lives that they can possibly have. And so mental health is one of those. How do we deal with it with play therapy? How do we provide them opportunities to express it in play and to practice and feel valued? Anyway, that's mental health. It's a really important topic. So here's chapter 1, chapter 8, chapter 12. And then we're going to go into the journal. And this is really going to be a process of everything that you've learned throughout the semester. How does nutrition and health and safety tie together? What are those, and it's not pulling up, hold on. What are those connections? So I'm going to give you some lecture materials, and one of them has to do with Maslow's hierarchy of needs type of thing. When you have good nutrition, then you have good health. My daughter had feeding difficulties, and all she would eat was unhealthy foods. And the GI doctor was like, let her eat whatever she wants to eat. She'll get the nutrition that she needs. Anyway, it made her really sick, and she was malnourished. And when she finally got the proper nutrients in her, she had catch-up growth, things along those lines. But if you aren't receiving the right nutrition, the right amount of physical exercise, how does that impact your safety? How does that impact your health? So that's what we're looking at here, minimum of 200 words. Then we're going to go to the second part. All this up to this point is due on Wednesday. Now we're going to talk about your time log. If you've been in a child care center, you're going to submit the time log where the director has signed off on your time log. If you're doing field experiences by video, remember that for each one of those, you can write field experience 1, 1.5. So there'll be 5 hours there. And then this is the time log you will use right here for the hours, the videos you'll be watching. And so I'll be looking for the video title and the summary and the connection to the materials that we've had in class. We're going to do is the end of course student evaluation. If you have been in a child care center, then you can give that to the other teacher that's in the room, the director, and they will complete it. If you have watched videos, you obviously can't complete that part of it. However, go down here and complete the half-page reflection and talk about, and you can summarize because you've done most of this in the time log, about what you've learned about yourself and connect it to health, safety, and nutrition is what it's going to be. So that is going to be all the assignments, and the course will end next Thursday. And so I look forward to exploring this last little bit with you, and you guys have a great 4th of July.